dad started a lot of the nicknames, like Anne was Muffin Head, and I called her Boogie, and she had nicknames for everyone.
When Anne Marie McNally was a kid growing up in Braintree, well, some said she was a little bit on the shy side. But as sister Caroline tells it, the shy kid label didn't last long. In fact, soon after high school, Caroline says Anne not only came out of her shell, but she had a way of lighting up a room. And when it came to putting people at ease or connecting with complete strangers, Anne simply had a way of making everybody feel special.
She was very compassionate. She always took everyone into account. She always looked after everyone else. She put them first before herself.
She always kind of seemed to be able to connect with people, like FedEx person. Things like that you'd always hear a story about. They would be asking for Anne, and you always think, wow, how did she become friends with the FedEx person? So she was very good like that, like putting others in front.
Yeah. She was beautiful inside and out. She did take care of everyone.
Wake up where the clouds are far behind.
Anne never really went through that super awkward stage. Like, she never needed braces. She never broke out. I don't know. She was so like easy,
The McNallys would be the first to say life as they knew it before November 2007 was almost too good to be true.
Anne took me on a lot of her work conferences with her. I went to California with her, and
You guys went to Spain?
yeah, we went to Spain. We went to London. We were, Anne and I were like, attached at the hip, So yeah. It's a lot of stories.
Smell the sea and feel the sky.
Everybody was doing well. Anne in particular was thriving both personally and professionally.
To the mistake.
But then came the day, a day in early November, when life as the McNallys knew it would change, and change forever.
Anne and I called each other every Saturday, and we would do stuff together. We'd go out to lunch or go shopping. But I had a wedding on that Saturday. It was like an evening wedding, and I was taking a nap. My phone kept ringing, my cell phone kept ringing, and I just ignored it because I was half asleep. And my husband finally answered it, and I could hear him in the next room. And my husband's really, really calm, and I just heard him, he just started screaming.
36-year-old Anne Marie McNally was killed November 10th when a Boston police cruiser slammed into McNally's black Saab. Witnesses with cell phone images from that day say the Saab nearly flew across the West Broadway intersection and took out a light post, and that the officer never slowed down when he had the red light.
I just never thought in a million years, like Mike was in China, James was in Dublin, and you just never think it's the person closest. And my husband came into the bedroom, and I just stood up, and he said Anne got into an accident. And I just said, the worst thought came into my head, but I thought, no, she couldn't be dead. And I said, did she break her leg, or is she hurt? And he just was white, and he couldn't answer me. And I said, is she dead? And when he shook his head, yes, I remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, it's your worst nightmare.
I couldn't even process what they were telling me. And I think, too, because I was so far away, I remember them telling me over and over again that Anne had passed away and I needed to come home. Definitely for me, it was just pure shock.
I know this is really hard, but it's also a huge regret I have. I always think, maybe if I called her, she would have left the house a second later. But you just never know.
Yeah, that was really pretty scary stuff. And I also remember there was about an hour where there was nothing I could do, so I think I went online right away and looked Boston.com, and it was really scary seeing Anne's car and a photograph on the website. And that just really made it really real.
It was like somebody kicked me in the stomach, and I remember I just fell on the ground, and it was so hard.
According to the official police report, the officer involved in the accident was responding to a call involving another officer in trouble. The McNallys say they understand the importance of such a call, but at the same time, the family can't help but wonder if on that day, responding quickly may have taken precedence over responding safely.
He had one thing on his mind, and he didn't take into consideration, his surroundings. There was a hedge on the side, which, that's a fact. There's no way he would have saw Ann coming through the intersection, and she was going, I think, 5 miles an hour or 6 miles an hour, and he tried to go around her. But I think to put something back of a police officer's mind that, all right, one of my brethren is in trouble, but I need to be careful to get to the accident because I could do serious damage either to myself, to somebody around me, to somebody I know, or to a person like our sister Ann.
I don't know how more people didn't die. It's Saturday afternoon, you're in a residential area, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, people are out shopping, people are out for a walk, it's a nice day. I think in my mind, I know everyone wants to be the big hero and save the other officer, but this guy just didn't take into any consideration what was around him. Don't cause more damage than the actual scene that you're trying to get to.
Having known people, friends who work in law enforcement, I think your number one job is to get there safely to help your fellow officer too. So I think a big takeaway for me is that, not only can you harm other people, unfortunately for us, we lost our sister, but if that cop doesn't get there, what if there is no other cop in the area? And it does, not only do you cause an accident, but then it could actually harm other officers if, unfortunately, if things work out in a way they don't get to the scene on time or whatnot. So that to me is the other big takeaway. Obviously there are people, loved ones, kind of out doing everyday activities in the city. But also I think just for your own colleagues, I think you do want to get there, you want to do what's right, but making getting there your number one priority in one piece so you can function and help and provide assistance, I think is critical. Just really take that 1 second, if you have that second, to stop and just remember, I need to get there safely, I need to get there to help my colleagues, and I also need to ensure that I'm protecting the people that live in this area or this neighborhood.
Being a police officer, sometimes you don't get a chance for a second chance, and in this case, the officer didn't. And not only he's not getting a second chance, he ruined the family's lives, It
breaks my heart to think what was the last thing that went through her head. It's really ruined us, and it took a long time before I think any of us wanted to get out of bed in the morning. It's really hard.
In the aftermath of the accident, the Boston Police Department has dedicated itself to the mission of getting better at how they respond to radio calls. Training techniques have been improved.
Massachusetts general law is very specific. You cannot go through a red light without stopping first.
Driver simulators implemented.
We know that the standards and the statistics are telling us the majority of accidents happen inside of where? Intersections.
All with one goal in mind, the goal of enhancing public safety while at the same time decreasing the chance of another tragedy.
To me, if we can prevent anything close to this happening again, it's going to be more than well worth it.
If somebody is going to a call and they do think of Ann for a second and it does save somebody, that's something I would want. It's something Ann would want.
So the next time you respond to a radio call, think about the importance of getting there safely. And think about this as well. Even though Anne Marie is no longer with us, her legacy lives on.
The sun will be shining, 'cause I feel that when I'm with you, it's alright. I know it's right. And the songbirds keep singing like